Artists working in the book form often develop personalized relationships to language, sometimes even establishing their own unique vocabularies from unexpected places. Today, let's look at books from Bea Nettles and Chang Yuchen, who have created their own visual word sets from which to draw on for larger bodies of work. Artist and educator Bea Nettles has produced photographs and photographic publications for over 50 years. Since 2011, Nettles has published 7 artists' books of original poetry. The words of the poems come from a specific source: photographs of surnames on headstones. Walking through cemeteries, Nettles realized that she could find nouns, verbs, and adjectives in last names. She has now traveled throughout the US and Europe to photograph tombstones, collecting over 7,000 names to populate her word bank. Created in 2013, Hawk Dove is the 3rd book in this ongoing series. Once we enter the book, we find texts inverted against each other. They present 2 opposing but interrelated poems, contrasting wartime and peace. The hawk side of the book, shadowed in gray, is full of stark images of war. Cannonball tatters meadows, cleaves white oak, wheat withers. Savage force pounds warfield, seals northern borders. Fine ash feathers bridges, swift gray rivers flood woods. Young majors march miles, constant fear wells. Reaching the end of this side, the book flips over and then continues with the dove side text. Differentiated with green drop shadows, these images depict rosy moments of life in peacetime. Nettles explores opposites and duality throughout the book. Both the hawk and dove use corresponding imagery that almost mirrors the other side, particularly towards the end of each text. Pillow battle going strong stands in contrast to nurse pillow's lame man's head. A bird signals the final image of each section. High cardinal loving fine blue day. Golden red phoenix burns. Beyond limiting herself to last names, Nettles has a few additional parameters. For example, she won't digitally alter names to find a word she needs, and words must be spelled correctly. Hawk Dove has one more limitation. In this book about war and peace, the names are all from veterans' headstones. The airy spaces slow down my reading, so I can envision images from Nettles' frugal use of words, including the loss of each soldier's life. In contrast, Headlines: World's Warning, Nettles' most recent book in this series, is very dense. Across 8 panels, she documents her chronology of the COVID-19 pandemic from December 2019 to the end of August 2020. The tight, crowded lines bring me back to the anxiety and barrage of news headlines as the coronavirus spread, George Floyd was murdered, and everyone's lives were upended. I also marvel that all these last names exist. The changing typography and color of the tombstones, and the fact that they're all capital letters, make it impossible to rush through this text. My focus moves from the moments and ideas captured in these phrases, to the words themselves, to the fact that these are family names, and then to the physical characteristics of these photographed letters on stone. Even when describing bad news and memories, I enjoy the unexpected phrasing that likely developed because Nettles is working from a limited word list. During news brief, President favors bleach sips, hopes to treat virus with sunshine. News anchors wince. Blasé remarks stuns learned doctor. marks new low. Nettles told me that to keep it legible, she can only include so many stones on a line, much like a newspaper can only print so many words in a headline. But Nettles values constraints like this. They challenge her and push her process further. Hawk, Dove, and Headlines, World's Warning are vivid examples of the engaging and vibrant creativity that can rise out of working with a personalized vocabulary and strictly imposed limitations. Chang Yuchen is a Chinese artist based in New York. Her interdisciplinary practice crosses through drawing, weaving, and performance, and concerns ideas about language, labor, and publishing. Produced in collaboration with Gong Press, Choral Dictionary, Volume 1, 2019 to 2022, is an artist's book and active reference tool for Yuchen's ongoing work. This dictionary contains 216 words, each translated into 4 languages: Malay, English, Chinese, and Choral. During a 2019 artist residency on a small island in Malaysia, Yuchen was surprised to learn that the Malay language has never had its own writing system. She was also struck by the numerous pieces of dead coral that littered the shore, remnants from local fishing practices that used explosives in the water. Yuchen began collecting small bits of the white coral, arranging them into categories, translating them into drawings, and eventually into words. Yuchen notes in an introduction to Choral Dictionary that the Malay verb meaning to compose, to create, to arrange, and to weave, actions that are all seen throughout Yuchen's creative output, is menggarag, which derives from the Malay word for coral, karang. Building off this relationship, Yuchen is inventing a unique visual form for the Malay language, what she calls a feral literacy using coral bodies. To create each word, she searches through her collected coral to find pieces that embody the shape, sound, and meaning of each word. Some words might be easy for readers of any language to identify with. The coral word for ear closely resembles the shape of a human ear. And the word for sticking out has a part projecting out of a larger base. Other forms come from deeper associations and Yuchen's own interpretations. The word for cinema is large. She describes it as immersive, with many rows of seats, and the screen is rectangular. Yuchen also considers other details beyond just the coral's form. For example, the words for you and me feature similar pieces, but me is closer to the bottom of the page because it is closer to the writer or reader. You is at the top because it is further from the writer or reader. Like root words in other languages, the choral words share similar elements across related ideas. For Yuchen, a cylindrical shape is connected to the idea of personhood, so the word for human being is cylindrical. The word self is a cylinder, but with some unique attributes. The word for they or them is also cylindrical, but with smaller cylinders coming off of it, suggesting the plural. I love exploring how the choral reflects the ideas. When I see the choral word for oppose or protest, the shape immediately makes me think of rising tall, sticking my body and neck out in forceful disagreement. To me, the top even resembles a head with an open mouth, speaking out. Many non-Western written forms have close associations between word shape and meaning. Looking through Choral Dictionary, I also think about the cultural differences in translation. How might each of us interpret a relationship between shape and meaning differently from Yuchen or someone else from Malaysia, China, or any other country or culture? It's important to remember that Coral Dictionary is a very personal translation, drawn from Yuchen's own thoughts and ideas. It is a tool that Yuchen refers to almost daily. All of the Coral words come from sample sentences contained in a specific Chinese-Malay dictionary, which is a key component of the whole project. Yuchen found the sentences in this particular dictionary to be unexpectedly emotional and reflected her impressions of the people and lives on the Malaysian island where she found the coral. Reassembling the broken pieces of coral into sentences not only brings them back together, it revives them in a new form or body. Yuchen presents these sentences in drawings and sculptural installations, and performs readings and interpretations of the Coral Dictionary. I find it interesting to note that in these finished sentences, the drawings of coral are rendered with much more detail than in the dictionary. This book is, after all, a reference tool used in service of the larger project. In fact, Yuchen decided to make this first volume of Coral Dictionary an accordion book so that new words could easily be added. Coral Dictionary is an embodiment of Yuchen's ongoing labor and performance. It inspires examinations into how meaning is at once a shared idea, but also a personal interpretation, reflective of place and lived experience. The same word resonates differently in different bodies. Born of curiosity, respect, and close attention to the sounds, meanings, and shapes of words, Nettles and Yuchen have recontextualized artifacts of death. Their assembled vocabularies revitalize tombstones and dead coral, providing a rich wellspring of language from which to draw on their ongoing work.